and welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and I'm here talking all things Salford Devils. Joining the show this week, as ever, we've got Paul at Whiteside. How's your week been, Paul? In the sunshine, I suppose, when Britain gets warm, you sit around a lot.
No, we don't. People still want hot water and that.
Yeah, I suppose.
No, we do a lot of servicing work in bits and bats, but there's always stuff to do, mate, to be honest with you. So, yeah, it's still pretty busy. But one thing I've noticed this week, the roads are absolutely mega. It's been so busy everywhere. I don't know if people are going in the cars a lot more because it's warm, but it's difficult getting about in the traffic and that. But I'm doing all right. I'm coming home from work, probably losing a few pounds a day in sweat, like, but... yeah, I'm doing all right. Not so bad. How's yourself, mate?
Good. This week, I went to a podcast industry meetup at the Lowry in Salford. All the big hitters there, big podcast producers, Audio Always, Audio Boom, BBC, Spotify. Thought I'd go and show my face and promote our podcast. Paul, lots of people doing different podcasts. Met a lot of different people. Met the guy who runs Man United's official podcast, which was quite good.
Right.
He was telling me, he kind of rubbed up against the side of me. I was like, all right, so we stole your name, didn't we? And I sort of looked at him like, what? That's a bit of a random thing to say to me. But then obviously he flashed his badge at me. I was like, you're the Man United podcast guy. But yeah, told me all about interviewing players and how much of compared to what we have to do, which is basically just ask. He has to go through sort of reams of paperwork. Planning all different kinds of stuff to get sort of players to interview. And he said that he seems to think that when sort of the people who get the best interviews out are the people who have either retired or the people who work behind the scenes because they're all media trained, he said.
Right. Well, I think I like the way we do it, Rob, just off the cuff and, a nice friendly chat. I think that's the way to be. Have good manners and just chat to people friendly like. But I suppose football's a different kettle of fish to what we do, really, isn't it? The players are probably a lot more high profile, a lot more high maintenance, aren't they? And a lot more security around it, I suppose. But each to their own, I suppose. But I'm sorry I couldn't have been there with you, mate. I was working over in Liverpool all day, so I was miles away. But they're all in mourning over there because City just won the treble, so they're all flying the flags at half-mast over there. But no, it sounds like it was a good event.
Yeah, it was great. Obviously, lots of stuff going on. Sort of comparing our stats to their stats, the industry stats. I found out that 94% of people who listen to podcasts listen to them alone. Which, when you think about it, when I listen to podcasts on my phone, I am by myself. Which also sort of matches up to our stats that the most popular age group of people who listen to podcasts are between 35 and 55 years of age. Which matches our stats too.
I know my wife listens to a lot of podcasts, and she tends to listen to them when she's out walking the dog, and she's out in the car on her own on her way to work and things like that. So I suppose from that, and I'm the same. If I listen to something, it'll be when I'm driving about at work. I don't listen to a lot of stuff, I must admit, because I can't concentrate that much when I'm working because I'm always thinking about work and that. But yeah, I suppose it's probably about right that.
Yeah. And also the fact the growth has gone up as well in the industry over the years, like ours has, which matched as well. The thing that didn't match for us and the general industry of podcasts is a lot of people listen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, when ours, most of it's on SoundCloud. And I thought that was strange.
Yeah.
I thought that. I was like, really weird. But obviously, if you're listening, thanks for listening. But if obviously you're getting new people to listen, try and get them on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so it can boost our range. Because I was talking to other people about the amount of people listen to us every month, and sort of the standard sort of monthly listen when people start talking about sponsorship and making money out of it, they say is 10,000 listeners a month, and we're on 5. And we're a niche market, really, which is really good. Every time I mentioned to them, someone, their eyes were like, "Whoa, that's impressive."
Right, yeah. So it sounds like we're going in the right direction, then.
Yeah, but I say lots of things, lots of sort of workshops and kind of things that I think we can improve on. Hopefully, we can sort of bring it to this podcast and make our listeners' experience even better, which will be exciting.
Yeah, certainly. Well, and don't forget as well, Rob, I mean, Salford as a club probably haven't got, you look at sort of compared to Manchester United, which is very difficult. They're like a global entity, aren't they? With sort of like getting 80,000 supporters every week, whereas Salford, it's a lot smaller sort of market that we're going to, I suppose, isn't it? So to have 5,000 sort of listeners is probably really good.
Yeah, I was impressed. So I say we're impressed, and I was like, that's pretty good as well. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for making us grow and continue to grow. It's been a journey, and we're hoping obviously we'll continue on the journey and make it a bigger and better podcast for in the years and months to come. So loads to go at. This week, we're going to look back at the Castleford win, our ladies' victory in Bradford, the reserves' defeat in Castleford. We've got all the big news coming out of the club this week. Then preview the big cup game at Hull Kingston Rovers on Saturday. So we'll start with a win at Castleford.
You're listening to Devil in the Detail, and this is your big match review.
So Salford Red Devils were victorious against Castleford Tigers away at the Mendenhall's Jungle. They won 42 points to 10. Paul, good win for Paul Rowley's men. Didn't really get out of second gear for me, but the result is all that matters in games like that, and they took the 2 points.
Yeah. I think we both said that after the game when we was having a chat, weren't we, with each other about us not getting out of second gear. We both agreed on that, and I think Paul Rowley did as well. But you say that, but we still scored 8 tries and made our opponents look very, very poor. I thought, well, it was a case of Cass were poor. I thought we made them look poor, though. The way we opened them up, and some of the tries and their defence was all over the show, wasn't it? So they look very, very disorganised, and especially Wakefield with the weekend, they're probably looking over the shoulder now, aren't they? Because they're a poor team. But yeah, I know what you mean. I think there was parts of our game where it could have been a bit more polished, but I think the most pleasing thing for me was the keeping Castleford to 0 points in the second half. I think that was a great defensive effort when we had to work on it. We scored some cracking tries as well, but to win 42-10 away from home against a side who just beat Leeds at the Magic Weekend and a bit of confidence, I thought we brought them right back down to earth. It was a good result.
Yeah, and like you said, I think if Wakefield finds some form, Castleford are in trouble for me. Well, yeah, second half, didn't concede any points, defended well. Thought our pivots, the Brierley, Croft and Sneed combination played fantastically well. And yeah, I think Paul Rowley would have been sort of happy that we got through without any injuries. Man decided to swap the players around at the back end of the game to rest a few bodies. And I suppose that's one eye on the cup next week.
Yeah, it's all about the 2 points, I suppose, isn't it? And to get up to 20 points by this stage of the season, 10 victories, I think it's a great first half of the season. We're about halfway through now, aren't we? So it really is. I mean, if we could double that in the second half of the season and finish up with 20 wins, that'd take to a high position in the table. So yeah, I thought it was a really good win. It's always difficult to go away from home, especially somewhere like Castleford, and we've done well there the last few years and the last few games we played there. So I thought it was a really good display. I thought we defended well when we needed to. Like you said there, the spine of the team looked good. Ryan Brierley, I thought, was outstanding in attack and defence. He chased back and showed great pace to bring the Cass winger Tate down. Great tackle on him. Plus, he had a hand in some of the tries as well. Croft and Sneed worked really well. And Chris Atkin was great again. So there was loads and loads of positives to take out of the game. So big performance from a lot of players. So it's Paul Rowley will be really pleased with that.
Yeah, before we talk about the match, but I just want to touch on the unsavoury scenes off the field between the Salford fans and Castleford fans, both sets of kids. I think the RFL media kind of blew it up into this big thing when particularly I don't think it was. I think it was the only thing that was missing was sort of 30 kids surrounding and shouting fight, fight, fight like they do in the junior school.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a non-story, Rob, to be honest with you. I mean, I was watching it from where we were sat and, because my daughter and my dad and my mum were in the crowd that, and so you panic a bit thinking, I hope they're all right, because what these people need to remember is you've got to be careful because you bump your head on the concrete or something like that. It's good night, Vienna. You need to have a bit more common sense because it's all right having a fight in a boxing ring, but you do it outside somewhere. It's so dangerous. So yeah, I think it was blown out of proportion. I think it was a bit of handbags really. And you see these videos all the time, don't you, of like football violence and that. No one ever throws a punch. They all seem to get held back by the invisible man. And they're all bouncing on the toes. No one ever chucks a punch, do they? But no, I think it's just silly, really. You've got to be careful, though. There's kids about and that. You need to. People are getting up to no good like that. You've got to behave yourself and think about your surroundings and who's around you. And I know everybody gets a bit excited sometimes. The sun's out, you've had a few beers and that, but just take it easy.
Yeah, rugby league is a family sport. Remember that. That's what we need to remember going forward. So let's talk about the match now, Paul. Good win from Salford Red Devils. First try was Rhys Williams, kick to the corner. Widdop and Gary make a mess up of it, and Williams is there to pick the ball up and secure the first score for Salford.
Yeah, they made a real mess of that, and before I saw the replay of it, you sort of wondered what had happened and how he'd got hold of the ball there, Rhys Williams. But I think you've got to give Williams a lot of credit. He's in the right place at the right time. He's scored 6 tries in his last 4 games, so he's in really good form, isn't he? And he might miss out this weekend. Joe Burgess looks like he's going to be back, so Rhys Williams is usually the fall guy, isn't he? But he's more than capable replacement. I think he's a super player to have in the squad, and took his chance really well.
Yeah, there was talk about an infringement in the build-up to the play. Rhys Williams pushes Gary into Widdop. There is a push, but I don't think there's enough to cause Widdop to basically collide with Gary. Williams is just there to do what good wingers do, grab the ball and score a try. So Salford went 6-0 up. Cass it back. Gary offload by Laffey. Gary picks up and races over from 40 metres, 6-4.
Yeah, that was the one where Laffey just seemed to bobble out of his hands. The ball didn't it? Went straight to him. So it was 2 sort of mistakes really. I mean, and the next try was Widdop coughing up an high kick, wasn't it? So 3 real howlers really, weren't they, for the first three tries of the match? And on what was a bone dry night as well, it was quite unusual to see those sort of tries. The Laffey one was, I think, just a loose carry, really.
Yeah.
Ball just seemed to squirm out, from the invisible hand punching it out. But a bit disappointed with that. But I think he more than made up for it as the game went on. He was superb.
Yeah. So Salford scored next. Chris Atkin, like you said, kick to the corner. Widdop spills it. Ball's recycled. I think Stone gave it to Atkin. Atkin goes over for the score, and we lead 12-4 with 20 minutes gone, Paul. And then a quick 10 minutes there. We score another couple of tries. Dion Cross goes over after lovely work, I think, from Sneed, and Dion Cross makes Widdop look like a clown, goes over for the score to make it 18-4.
Yeah, he zigzagged him there, didn't he? And really turned him inside out. It was a good play that from Dion Cross. And, the try before that, as you said, Atkins scored. I thought it was a good finish from Atkins. He had a bit of traffic round him. But, Crossy did really well there. I thought he played well at the Magic weekend. I know he got simmed in, but he's been solid, and good to see him get over and score a try. Because it had to be scored, that. It was a good break, but then he had the presence of mind and, the nice footwork and the confidence as well to go around Widdop and get over.
Yeah, and then Salford scored another try. Ken Seal, lovely team move from left to right as I was looking at it, and Ken Seal does what Ken Seal does, and good wingers do. Stretches over in the corner to extend Salford's lead to 24-4.
Yeah, that was a great pass, wasn't it, to Seal? Can't remember who passed it now. Was it Brodie Croft?
Yeah,
I think it was Croft, wasn't it? It was a super pass that CO went over, and it was it the Brierley break, that one?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I'm looking at
he went over in one corner, and then he moved it from left to right, went through about 5 or 6 pair of hands, and then CO sort of had half a yard to over in the corner.
It was the Brierley pass one. It was a lovely cut-out pass from Brierley, and it really created the space for CO to go over. Good finish from CO, though. You give him half a chance, and he's a super finisher, isn't he? And 24 points to 4, I think that was them, wasn't it?
Yeah. So coming up to half-time, Cass sort of bereft of ideas for me, but then bang on half-time, Kenny Edwards scored, kicked by Rob, just fluffed it, and then Edwards just there, caught it, and just ran over for 10 metres. Everyone just looked at each other. It was like, well, where's that come from?
Yeah, Paul Rowley said to us after the game, didn't he? It was a Hail Mary kick. Yeah. I think he's right there, really. He used to hit and hope, and, Kenny Edwards I think he was as surprised as anybody, wasn't he? He just take the ball and get over. So I think that was completely against the run of play, really. He was completely in control, and 24-10 probably gave them a bit of a glimmer of hope, didn't it, if they'd have scored the next try after half-time. But Salford put paid to that, really, didn't they? Come out of the blocks pretty quick at the start of the second half, and that try, early doors. I know we knocked on from the kick-off from Armour, but then Laffey was quality with Williams, wasn't he, setting him up for a try?
Yeah, lovely offload by Tim Laffey, kind of out the back, and Rhys Williams popped up for his second score of the evening. Yeah, so we were in front 28-10 at that point. We scored again 6 minutes later. Ken Seal off an interception, around 40 metres to put us even further in front.
Yeah, he did, and he's got the pace, hasn't he? You know, Cass were chasing the game there, and they probably had to do something. You know, you're 28 points to 10 down at home. You've got to force the pass, haven't you, and try and get back into their game. There's always that sort of danger then that you're going to concede more points, and CO took that gift. And then it was one-way traffic again. Williams and Lafay, they linked up superbly well, didn't they, for their next try? You know, it was like the Williams and Lafay show on that left edge. They were absolutely sensational. First, that pass you just mentioned before out the back door to Williams. And then Williams, I thought he was great. He was really composed to put Lafay in. And I think that was 38 points to 10 then. And, you know, a lot of the Cass supporters had gone for the exits, hadn't there? There was hardly anybody on the ground after that, under the Salford supporters. So yeah, we was well on top by then.
Yeah. So obviously, at that point, game kind of petered out a bit. Salford scored at the end through Stone. Another lovely bit of work from Mark Sneed sends him over, and yeah, it was a good workout, ready for what is to come this week for me. Didn't take too much out of us. Got a bit of workout out of it, and we're primed, ready for OKR.
Yeah, I think the main thing, Rob, from what Paul Rowley said to us was we've not really come away with a load of injuries from the game. We've come away relatively unscathed. So, and it's a confidence boosting thing as well. And I think he did right, Paul Rowley, by sort of mixing it up and making a few changes, bringing people off. And, you know, what's the point of risking people getting knocks? You know, at the end there, the game was in the bag. He sort of changed it around, used his subs really wisely, and yeah, it was a good result. You know, Kingston Rovers got absolutely battered in Catalan the day after, didn't they? So that's not going to do them any good. But for us, it was a good result, a good away win, and yeah, we can start looking forward to a big cup quarter final now.
Yeah. Talking about Paul Rowley, it is Paul Rowley and Ryan Brierley talking after the game to me and you.
So I'm joined by Ryan Brierley. Good win tonight.
Yeah, good. Obviously, it's always tough at Castleford away, so I think the most important thing was the 2 points. I think getting to a stage of the year now where you want to start firing and hitting your straps as such. So I think we did that tonight.
Yeah, obviously scored some great tries out there, flowing moves. You know, you one of the sort of the pivots to playmakers. Must be pleased with that.
I think I think there's been a bit of a myth around us not clicking in attack, but we was winning games, so I never really understand that. So I think we was doing a good job. I think Brody and Sneedy in particular are doing an unbelievable job. Just makes my job a little bit easier out the back there. So credit to them two boys. They're playing really well at the moment, and we should be privileged and feel privileged and proud to have them.
Yeah, we've won 8 of the last 9 going into this cup game next week. That's exciting.
Yeah, our most important game of the season for me. I think at the start of the year you only get 3 chances at trophies, don't you? So massive one for us on Saturday. I think it's a really pivotal point in our season, and to get to a semi-final, 2 games away from Wembley is pretty important. So I think this club, to take that next step forward, we need to win something, don't we? So I think it's very brave for us to come out and say we want to win something. We've got to go and back it up, and we've got to put our best foot forward.
This is probably one of the best chances we've had of winning something. You're a Sol fan, you've seen him through the years. This team's got to be up there with the best.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one from a fan's point of view, because I am a fan. Yeah. So I think when, as a fan, I'm seeing you come to Castleford where at times we've been absolutely battered by this team, and I've been in that away stand there and watching us get beat by 50 and 60, and I think just saying to Brody then, we come away from there with a 40-point win, and we're still probably not happy with elements of our game. So just shows how far Salford Red Devils have come under Paul Rowley. That isn't enough for us tonight. We want more. It makes us hungry, and everyone shares a common goal of winning some silverware. So things are good. The happiness is at a focal point, but again, we understand we're probably nowhere near where we need to be to win a trophy, and we're getting there. We'll get there.
Yeah, Challenge Cup next week against the Hull KR. The Cup is a big thing for us Hull fans. Travelling to Hull KR is going to be a big challenge. Beat them last week, but it's a whole new game.
Yeah, I think it'd be a completely different game. We're going to get no calls, we're going to get no 50-50s. It's a real tough place to go, and their fans account for a lot. So I think emotionally we've got to be in the right place and in the right frame of mind, I suppose, going forward. So I think that'll be the main thing, is making sure mentally we're in the right place, because I think last week we gave us a lot of confidence that we can beat this team. Ultimately it'll be a mentality thing to make sure it's on the right attitude and deal with all the emotion and the noise around the game, which will be, it's exciting. I think if you don't get excited about these games, you're in the wrong sport, aren't you? So one that we're looking forward to.
Brilliant, Ryan. Cheers, and well done tonight.
Cheers.
Brilliant.
Coach's Corner.
Right, I'm delighted to say I've been joined by Paul Rowley. Another Another big win, Paul. I mean, I didn't think we played that well tonight, but you've just blown Castleford away.
Yeah.
You
Well,
must be pleased.
yeah, I think Kurt said at half time it was a funny old game, wasn't it? Because we had an opportunity to score just before half time. Would have took it to 30 points to 4. As it happens, they scored off a Hail Mary kick, 24-10. It was like, oh, here we go. There's like Huddersfield on the cards here, 44-40. Win this one, got written all over it. But we look like a good team playing in second gear. I guess that's a sign of our progression, to come here and win 40-10 and be almost like, oh, okay, yeah, that's good, job done, get out. It's a huge win, really, isn't it, when you actually break it down? So yeah, we're delighted with the victory. We're delighted that we paid a good testament to Callum Watkins' 350th game. The whole game for us was based around attitude and standards, and that's a reflection of Callum and his career. And so I thought we'd tick that box. I thought our attitude were good, our standards were high, we maintained them, we want to keep improving them, and there's a never willingness to keep working week in, week out with this group of lads. So it was a good victory, and like you said, there's probably more points in it for us if we were on point, but we had the luxury of messing about with our subs a little bit as well, so some of that wobbled us a little bit, but yeah, that's what you get when you're in good positions.
Is that what this win was built on? I mean, because you could have took your eye off the ball, you've got a cup quarter final next week, but the attitude just seemed absolutely bob on tonight. I mean, that second half, what's the most pleasing point? The tries, or the fact that you didn't concede a point in the second half?
Yeah, the non-conceding is always the best. We build every game we play, we'll build on our defence. Obviously people speak about our attack, that's what everyone pays the money for, but I think we've seen over the last 18 months some unbelievable courage defensively, whether it be away from home or at the AJ Bell. There's been periods of good defence, so we concede 2 points, like I say, one off a Hail Mary kick, one off a steal, so sloppy. I'll put them to sloppy. They're not lucky from Cassie's part, sloppy from us, so we're disappointed with them too, but credit to the lads. I thought they come up with some really good reads. I thought a lot of good individuals. Stoney were good. I thought Dion had his best game. Kenny had a good game as well, so and then the usual suspects all performed consistently to a high standard. So again, it was a game surrounding, for us, it was a game that was all about Callum Watkins, and I thought the lads did him proud, and he got a little rest there at the end. They had 20 minutes to sit down and watch the end of the game.
You don't want to go back on though, because he was desperate for a try, because I noticed that tonight. I thought he was going to score tonight just to cap it off, but like you said, a fantastic performance, and I suppose it's hard to pick out man of the matches and things like that, because someone asked me at the end of the game who do you thought was your best player, but I think it's so difficult because everyone's putting a shift in, aren't they?
Yeah, and then if you look at some of them tries, that like the execution of it's brilliant, whether that be Brody, Sneedy, Kez, and so they're playing consistently well, them players, which is is good for us, and they play well consistently because they consistently train well. The boys know my favourite saying, you can't be a mug 6 days and a champion on the 7th, and they're not, and that's why they are what they are, and that's why they get what they get, because they deserve it, because they work hard.
Joe Burgess was missing tonight. Can you tell us a bit about him? Has he picked a knock up or?
No, he's had a knee infection. He's got a really bad to Joe, but we're a bit old school. He's got a scab on his knee, effectively. Don't want to make that sound really small, but he's got infected, keeps getting inflamed. So we felt that that we've got Reece Williams there who needs to keep ticking over and has been really good. So we give Joe the week off, and I don't see any problem with him playing this week. He should be fine.
Turning attention to cup quarter final next week. What's the plan going up there? You're going to stay over the night before? It's early. It's 12 o'clock kickoff.
We've got to stay the night before. So we travel well as a group. We enjoy each other's company, and I think sometimes when you travel with a team, if you feel uncomfortable with in certain situations, then it's always quite draining. But we've got a really good group, so. Anytime we travel is a pleasure with these boys, so we're looking forward to it, and hopefully it'll be a good game.
I think there was an article on the club's Facebook page the other day saying you're a band of brothers. I think that probably describes you guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think every team likes to kind of roll out the same lines, don't they? But what we've got is authentic and genuine, and like I said before, I could go and sit on that bus now and sit next to any single one of them and be as comfortable as I am with the next. So it's a good group, and I guess it's well documented that it's probably the smallest group, but in many respects that's probably our strength as well. So there's not many of us, but we love each other to bits, I guess.
Better get on that bus before they've had all the pizza.
I know, it's probably too late now.
Nice one. Thanks very much for speaking to us,
No,
Paul.
it's
All
a
the
pleasure,
best and
always.
best of luck against Oakham, mate.
Thanks, mate.
So that was Paul Rowley and Ryan Brierley talking to us after the game, Paul, and obviously both were sort of happy with what sort of the result and the win, but obviously they knew there's plenty more in the tank if needs be.
Yeah, I think we won the game at a canter, really, didn't we? It was never in doubt. We punished Castleford, and I think they were both pleased about the result, and there's bigger things to come. But there was no way they were going to look at that Hull KR game before the Cas game. You're not going to have your eye on that. Paul Rowe's a very humble guy, and he prepares, very particular about his preparation, and he wanted to get that result. And now we'll move on to the Hull KR game. So yeah, you could see that sort of smile on his face again. But it's been job done. I mean, since that St Helens game, I think we've won 4 on the bounce since then, haven't we? Since that setback, so we've done really well. They beat the 2 Hull clubs. We beat Huddersfield in the cup as well. So we're improving all the time. Missing Andy Ack as well. We've got him to come back into the team. So yeah, I think it was really I come home from Castleford on Friday night really chuffed with the result.
Yeah, Ryan Brierley talked about the times he'd gone to Castleford as a supporter and watched various Salford teams get a bit of a punneling, but this one, obviously, we get to Cass and dominated. He said that he spoke to Brodie Crawford about it, and now it's such a difficult place to come for Salford sometimes, but not.
No, yeah, well, it has been over the years, hasn't it? I was talking to somebody and sort of going on to my dad on the way there. We were talking about the 2002 season when we played them 4 times that season, and you can remember the 74 points they put on us at the Willows. I think we got beat there in the cup. We got beat there 20-2 in the league, and then they come and beat us on last game of the season, 20 points to 10, and relegated us. So it's not always been plain sailing against Cass. We've had some really miserable days there, haven't we, at Weldon Road? So yeah, it's nice to go to those grounds and get a win. And I think you said it yourself a few times about the club, changing and transitioning, and it's a quote you use quite a lot when you say we normally lose that game, in years gone by, and you always say that to me, and you're absolutely spot on. We would normally, lose these sort of matches, and we're not now. We're winning these games. We're winning them comfortably as well. So that's a club that's changing its culture, changing the way it feels about things. And if we are to make progression, it's no use just get into the playoffs one year. You need to be doing it every year to change the people's perception of the club. Yeah, the outsiders looking in. Yeah, that's what you want. And Cass have done that. I think they're a prime example. They finished top of the table, got to a grand final. They were in the playoffs every season, weren't they? And that helped them get their crowds up there. And I think we're becoming that team now, moving on from a sort of cannon fodder team. We're now a team that's starting to challenge, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think Castleford are kind of like getting eaten by complacency, where they'll get to the playoff, it'll be fine. And now they've got an ageing team, a lot of injuries, coach not particularly doing fantastic stuff, and you can feel the burn, especially with Wakefield winning last week.
Yeah, do you know what? That's the impression I've got this season from the 2 times they played Castleford. At their ground on Friday, the supporters seem sort of really fed up with it. The rugby that they're watching's poor, to say the least. Like you said, they're an ageing team. There doesn't seem to be a lot of spark there. There's injuries. The coach isn't particularly... He doesn't look comfortable, does he? In his press conference, there's a new coach there, but following on from Bradford leaving, they're a club that's in a bit of a hole at the moment, for want of a better word, and they're struggling. And like you said there, if Wakefield pick up a few wins, which they could do, they brought a few players in, signed a few players. Luke Gale's got to make his debut yet for them, so you can see them winning a few matches. So it's going to be tight. They could be those 2 clubs in the old rhubarb triangle there in West Yorkshire. They could be the ones battling out for the wooden spoon.
Yeah. Let's talk about the stats now, Paul. Top tacklers: King Vuniyayawa, 24, Jack Almiroy 22, Sam Stone 26, Oliver Partington 24, and Ben Helliwell 21.
Yeah, not massive numbers, but I think that's down to the fact that we had a lot of ball, didn't we, in that game? I think King Vuniyayawa for me was very, very impressive. I thought he has been for the last couple of weeks. I think he's starting to get better and better now as grounds get firmer. He's running harder. He's making a lot of ground. I think Jack Almiroy is probably one that's a bit low on confidence. I think he made a couple of mistakes that he knock-ons and things like that. So he's a player for me that probably needs to improve a little bit. And he'll probably say that as well. going off the others, I thought Atkin was good for us as well. But yeah, the guys who put the tackling in there, yeah, not a lot of tackling this week, but Oliver Parkinson's another one. I think he's been a smashing signing from Wigan. I think, if you're Wigan and Matty P, you're probably regretting getting rid of Ollie Parkinson, because I think he looks as good as anybody in that Wigan team. He's really been a good signing for us, and obviously he come in and replaced Elijah Taylor, really, didn't he? And you've probably got a like for like player there, only a much younger version. So I've been very, very impressed with him.
Yeah. Top meter makers: Ken C 173, Tim Laffey 174, Brodie Croft 109, Sam Stone 98, Brodie Cross 137, Rhys Williams 138, Tyler Dupree 86, and Mark Sneed 94.
Some big meters there. Yeah, some real big meters there. Another guy who deserves a big mention, and he probably doesn't always get the 3-word man of the match reports, is Sam Stone. I think Sam Stone does. He's what you call an 8 out of 10 player every week, isn't he? Because he's so consistent, he sort of flies under the radar, really. But he's very, very solid. Very solid runner, gets involved as well, does an awful lot of tackling, and I've been really impressed with him in recent weeks, and he's really shored up that back row. And I think losing Shane Wright as well was a massive blow for the club, and he's sort of stepped in there and took on the role of Shane Wright, really. I know he was playing in the same team as him, but he's took a lot of pressure off the forwards, and he's been doing really well.
Yeah, biggest in proportion rugby player I've ever seen, Sam Stone.
He's only very slight, isn't he? He's not a huge bloke, is he? But no. He's fairly slim, isn't he? But he sort of really works hard and takes a bit of stopping as well. He's deceivingly strong, isn't he?
Average gains: Ken CO 11, Callum Watkins 9, Tim Laffey 9, King V 8, Sam Stone 8, Tyler Dupree 8.
Ken CO there, that's a great stat for Ken CO, isn't it? It just shows how strong Ken CO is. He makes yards for fun, doesn't he? In contact and in the loose as well. When he gets a break, he's away so sharp, isn't he? And he's another player that probably get into any team in the league, wouldn't he, Ken CO? He's such a quality player, and it's a massive game for him this weekend. If he gets half a chance against Ulcar, I'm sure he'll be in. But no, some really good stats again there. Tyler Dupree, I thought, was impressive again. Another big performance from him. So he seems happy at the moment, doesn't he? So long may that continue.
Yeah, big thanks for your 3-word match reports and man of the matches. Mark, very slick performance. Watkins, Colin Wilson, rampant Reds, masterclass Watkins. Martin just gets better. Williams, Ricky Payne, his dog's in sale. Slade, Field and Salford Williams. Paul, Rowley is God. Atkin, Ray Snow, very bitter Cass, your mate. Roy Ellerby, very classy Salford. His man of the match was Chris Atkin. Andy Lancashire, sizzling, superb Salford Sneed. Richard Morton, simply too good Cross. And Julia Coleman, her man of the match with the commentators on Radio Leeds. You were behind the mic for Radio Manchester, Paul. I hope you weren't as biased as the Leeds ones.
No, I only got asked at the last minute, and no, when you do it, it's I like doing it. It's nice to be able to do it, but you can't be too biased. You've got to look at the game and just say what is in front of you, really. And I believe Radio Leeds, some of the stuff they must have been saying, I don't know where they got that from, because he said their edge was as good as ours or something else. So yeah, listen to Radio Manchester, get it online, don't listen to Radio Leeds. Yeah. Good listen to us. But no, I think they'll always give it from the point of view of their side, I suppose, whether they're covering Castleford or whether it be Huddersfield or Wakefield, whatever they do, Leeds, they're going to look at it from their point of view. I don't know who was the summarise. I think it was James Clare, the summarise. We obviously played for Cass. So they're going to look at it from their point of view, aren't they? But no, keep smiling. We won, didn't we? So
yeah,
just tongue in cheek, innit?
Yeah. She says they went quiet every time Salford scored, which isn't great radio, has to be said.
No.
Philip Steele, no, David Snape, professional performance. Brierley, DS, beginning to purr. Atkin, Afar, room to spare. Atkin. Lubick Ross, nothing better interception. CO. So big thanks for your 3-word match reports. Man of the match is great when obviously our listeners get involved and tell us what they're feeling after the match.
Just some of the names we're struggling with there, aren't we? I read some of them. You can't tell who's who, can you, on the names? But no, it's good. They always come with different ones, don't they? I mean, there's certain players that never ever get mentioned. Like I said there with Sam Stone, but I think you sort of expect them to do that, and you think, well, that's not out of the ordinary. So, but no, there's always certain players who catch the eye with what they do. But I think, from my point of view, I think you could probably give the man of the match to anybody in that game. I think everybody was good. Everybody had a solid game, and there's players who have to work on stuff. That's always the case. But I think it was a thoroughly professional performance, and to score 42 points away from home's, it's a great result.
Yeah, let's move on to our ladies. Paul, they were in action against Bradford at Odsall and won 34 points to 28. A last-minute winner by YPS was the difference and took the 2 points back down the M62.
Yeah, a tremendous result against Bradford, and Odsall stayed. Not been there for a few years, have we? And that's a great win. I think it's the win that they needed, wasn't it? They were after a confidence boosting victory, and what a better way to go and score a few points at Bradford. It sounded a very entertaining game by all accounts. The weather's been warm as well, isn't it? Difficult to play in that sort of conditions, so I bet it was energy sapping, but no, a good win.
Yeah, Louise Fellingham opened the scoring for Salford. Little kick through by Demi Jones, and Louise Fellingham was there to push the ball down. Salford extended their lead with a try from Steph Gray. Lovely hands from Fellingham again, and sent the Steph Gray over in the centres, and Salford led 12-0.
Yeah, Louise Fellingham is captain. Fantastic, isn't she, really? Setting things up and doing a great job there. And a great start to the game. Some good tries. And like we said before, they just needed that bit of confidence, didn't they? You've been on a bit of a run. Not like a dire sort of run, but they've been on a confidence draining run, haven't they? Losing matches. And, you just want to buck that trend sometimes, don't you? So, yeah, to get in front there and get a good lead, that probably perked everybody up.
Yeah. So then, obviously, unfortunately for Salford, Bradford hit back with 3 tries in sort of one every 10 minutes. First one they kind of powered over by the post. The second one came from a kick. Bit of confusion in our back line, and they had the numbers to go over in the corner. And then just on half time, they crashed over by the post. 18-12 at half time. Obviously, starting the game really well, going 12-0 up, obviously would have been would probably not have played on the minds a bit.
Yeah, well, that's when you need to show a bit of character. You get in front, you chuck a bit of a lead away, and then you've got to bounce back and you've got to come again, then, haven't you? Put all that effort in, and you've got to go again, haven't you? So I think you showed an awful lot of character there. Credit to them. You come back in that second half and turn things around against a capable Bradford team as well.
Yeah, they had a tremendous 10 minutes just after half time. Lauren Ellison scored off an interception, ran 40 metres to score, and then Brogan Evans sort of scooted over from dummy half as well. And then 2 minutes later, Alex Simpson scored a little kick by Demi Jones. Sam Evans retrieved the ball, found Alex Simpson on the inside, and Simpson went over for the score, and Salford had a bit of a lead there.
Turn the game on its head. Turn the game on its head with some quality play, some quality tries, and Bradford couldn't really live with that, could they? So that's what you've got to do sometimes in a match. You need those miracle plays, don't you? And those quality plays, and sounds like they had it in spades there on Sunday.
Yeah. And then obviously Bradford knew they were in a game, fought back, 2 tries in sort of 5 minutes. In the last sort of 10 minutes, took the scores level, and it was all play for.
Yeah, real seesaw game, really, and that's when you've got to hold your nerve. When it's going back and forth like that, you've got to hold your nerve. You've done so much work in the game, you don't want to blow it there late on, and that's where it needs that bit of composure, that bit of skill, just to get you over the line when needed.
Yeah, so obviously Salford at that point were in the arm wrestle with 3 minutes to go. We got possession, we got territory. Louise Fellingham found YPS, who stepped over the line, crashed over under the posts. Absolute scenes on the Salford sideline, and Salford took the points.
I'm not surprised, Robert. It's a quality result, a result they've been searching for a number of weeks. So congratulations, and it's something to build on now. It's something to build. No game this week with the Challenge Cup, and like Louise Fellingham said a couple of weeks ago when I saw it at Magic, they've been a bit low on numbers, haven't they? They've had injuries. The squad's taken a bit of a kicking. So when you do get that sort of week's break now, that's time for them to refresh and then come again in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I spoke to acting head coach Dawn Schofield after the game, and this is what she had to say.
Coach's Corner.
Hi Dawn, welcome to the show. Congratulations on the big win against Bradford on Sunday. Talk us through it.
Hi, yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, amazing achievement on Sunday, taking into account the conditions and the late kickoff and the heat, and there was a disruption to their usual pre-match routine, and I thought that they handled the resiliency there was brilliantly. Yeah, a bit of an unusual start for us, but a great result. Just sort of kind of through the game, we got Lobby, captain fantastic, who scored after 4 minutes. She scored from a little kick through and got on the end of that, which was absolutely fantastic and kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, really, in terms of making sure that we got through to the end of it and we got through with a win. After 10 minutes, Lobby again to Steph to go over after a set restart. Always looking for that pass. A brilliant kind of score from Steph there on the edge. Great defence from us, kept the score at 6-12. Half-time it was 18-12, which was disappointing, but kind of the half-time talk was around reminders about processes and our non-negotiables, really. So I hope that was well received, and I hope that they kind of went out there and listened to what we asked them to do. Not long after half-time, the amazing Lauren Ellinson, I'd been reading that all day, really. She'd been waiting for that pass. She'd been there waiting. She picked up a brilliant intercept, ran quite a distance and scored, which was really, really good for her in terms of what she needed right now in the season, and which got us level. Scoot from Brogan at 53 took us in front, which is really good. Again, she runs all day. She makes metre after metre, and she's a tackling machine. 56 minutes, Alex scores on the edge after a great pass from Sam Evans, following a great kick through from Demi Jones. Her kicking game was immense on Sunday. I think she gave us a range of options, and she really challenged Bradford in terms of how they managed that. So that one came from her start, really. They score to equalise, which is frustrating at 75 minutes. We kind of thought we might just be able to hold it out, but we didn't manage that. So, back to frustration at our own performances there. But there was kind of a mentality from the team, really, is that there's absolutely no way we're losing this. And I think credit to them for that. It would have been really easy to just roll over at that point and think we'll stick with a draw or we'll go for the golden point or whatever. But they didn't. They were absolutely adamant in their kind of process from that point. And then kind of a fairy tale moment, really, from Yaz on 78 minutes. Yaz managed to score her first try for us, and she goes over under the sticks after a great get pass again off Lobby. We've asked Lobby to play at the line, and she absolutely did that and put Yaz over, and Yaz crashed over from very close. And again, that was a massive confidence boost for her, as she's been finding her feet in Super League and absolutely what she deserves for the efforts that she puts in on and off the field. And obviously, Demi's kicks kept us chipping away at them and kept us ahead. And it finished at 28-34, which was too close for comfort, but a win is a win, regardless of how it comes, and we're pleased with that.
That's 2 wins in 3 games in Super League so far. You must be happy with the performances so far this season.
Yeah, I think we're happy with the results, because that's what we need. We need points in the table. But I think we definitely feel that there could be an improvement in terms of performance. I think that we know what we're capable of. We know what the players can do. And I think that we are hoping that, yes, we've got the results, but hopefully that the performances improve. We've shown some great attack against Bradford. But on the downside to that, there was some kind of defensive weaknesses which we need to fix. And I think that as we continue to meet, we've got kind of Fed in the next few weeks, and then we meet Barrow, that we really do need to kind of continue with our champagne rugby and the way that we want them to play. And we need to fix up the defensive stuff to make sure that we're not conceding as much as we are doing, and kind of at the points that we're not conceding. So there's a bit of work to be done, but happy where we are. I think we're exactly where we're expected to be, but we know that there's got to be some improvement in the next few weeks.
No game this week. Opportunities to work on some things, like you said. Would you prefer a game, though, to try and build some momentum?
That's a tricky one, really. In a way, yeah, you kind of do want to roll on and continue with your winning ways, and certainly gathering momentum in terms of our attacking structures and what we can do there. But I think we've actually got a couple of weeks off. We kind of have the Challenge Cup game quarter-final this weekend, which obviously we didn't make, and then the following week is the Nines final. So it actually gives us probably 3 weeks prep time for Featherstone. which allows us to get back to kind of full strength squad wise. We've been carrying massive amount of injuries. Taz, Serena, Lucy, a number of players who've been not available to us because of injury. It kind of gets us closer to the line with those, and making sure that everyone's fully recovered and raring to go. And we're kind of treating it as a little bit of a mini pre-season. So there's some conditioning work going on. There's some specific work going on around different positions, and I think that we're using it as an opportunity to regroup, to recover, to get people back available for us, and to go into Featherstone with potentially a selection headache with the strongest squad that we can select from. So yeah, the weeks off won't do them any harm in terms of being able to see their families and things like that. But it is a fine balance between wanting to carry on with that momentum, kind of balancing play welfare as well.
So that was Dawn Schofield talking to me after the game, Paul, and obviously she was sort of happy with what was sort of produced, but she thought there was more to come and more to work on with the weeks to come.
Yeah, definitely. There always is. I mean, you probably conceded a few more points there than what you'd want to concede. It's not the perfect performance, is it? But it's a win, and it's a very hard fought win, and a lot of effort's gone into that. But there's always some things that you can polish up on and do better in your next game. So I think she's got a lot of positives there and a lot of things to work on and get right for the next fixture.
Yeah, like we said, no games for the next couple of weeks because I think there's a Challenge Cup this week, and I think the Rugby League Nines at the AJ Bell is the week after. So there's 2 weeks there for them to fix up anything that they think might need work on in the next couple of weeks. Because obviously in Super League you're playing against the sort of top teams week in week out, so you need to be on your game every week. And obviously if our 2 wins out of 3, it shows that we're mixing it with the best.
Yeah, certainly, and like you said as well, gives you a bit of time to rest your bodies and get people back who are not quite fully fit. A break in a season can always be good. It can work both ways sometimes, but it can come at the wrong time. Once you've had a win, you want to build on that momentum, don't you? But no, you've got a few weeks now to get things right, and I'm sure they'll use the weeks for to their advantage.
Yeah, so congratulations ladies on the win, and like I say, a couple of weeks now to build up again, ready for the next challenge. Let's move on to the reserves. They were in action against Castleford at Menho's Jungle on Saturday, but were defeated 38 points to 26. Paul, Castleford had to bring Scott Morrell out of retirement to play standoff. That shows how bad their sort of injury crisis is when you have to bring your coaches into play.
Quality player though, Scott Morrell. He's been over the years, hasn't he? He's always been a clever player to watch. I remember him playing against Salford for Halifax in that middle eights a few years ago, and he still had it then. So yeah, he's a wily old player, knows the game inside out. But no, you're a bit desperate there, aren't you? When they were, I heard that rumour on Friday night actually that Scott was going to play. So yeah, I think they are struggling in Castleford at the moment as a club. I think they've got a lot of issues there, haven't they, on and off the field? So yeah, a lot to worry about.
Yeah, so Castleford raced into a 10-0 lead. We had a man sent off, Jordan Brown, in that period as well, which is obviously a blow. If you're going into a game at Castleford, which is difficult away from home, you want to keep your full team on the field. So to be sent off put extra pressure on Stuart Wilkinson's men. Yeah,
certainly. And look at the weather on Saturday; it was absolutely scorching, wasn't it, as well? And you're trying to compete in that sort of heat with 12 men. Your backs are against the wall straight away, aren't you? All the team needs to do is move the ball, and you're going to tire, aren't you? It's going to get to you in the end. So that was a big blow that had a big sway on the game, I think.
Yeah. So we obviously a man down. What normally happens, team lift, don't they? And Salford did at that point. Try from Matthew Unsworth. Big carry from him. Crashed over to make it 10-6. Salford scored again shortly after. A lovely kick by Ellis Archer. And Billy Walkley was there to scoop the ball up and score, which was fantastic for him because obviously I think he's got X factor. This Billy Walker scores good tries. And yeah, I think it's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, making a name for himself there, playing the good stuff, scoring the good tries, and that's what people see. So, yeah, his progression, he carries on, could take him somewhere. So it's good to see him do well. As you said there, normally when a side goes a man down, it lifts the side, but it also sometimes the opposition who's got the extra man advantage, they can be a bit complacent, can't they, and make mistakes and be a bit gung-ho, and I think Salford probably took advantage of that as well.
Yeah, best to try the game. The next one for me was the one from Joe Coupland Franklin. Salford centre, caught the ball on his 20, went the wrong way round the winger, ran up to the fullback, stood him up, ran round him, and went over from 80 metres. Fantastic try, what a great score from him.
Yeah, he's got a bright future in the sport, hasn't he? We saw what he could do last season, playing in the first team and being around the first team. And yeah, I think he's definitely one to watch. He's got that explosive pace, very good hands as well. And yeah, it was an excellent try, an excellent score from him.
Yeah. So then 2 tries from Castleford, put it all back in the melting pot. But Salford scored again. Jack Stevens found Scott Egan, and he crashed over to tie up scores.
Yeah, Jack Stevens as well. We've mentioned it loads of times about Jack. Very, very clever player, clever halfback, good pair of hands, and he's another player with a massive, massive future in front of him as well. So they're a real good bunch, the Salford reserves. I think there's some experienced players in there who've been around a while, but you've got some real youthful players as well, and it's a nice blend, isn't it? And that team's getting better and better. I know they've not got the result in this game, but fought all the way, and to do it with 12 men, I think is hats off to them.
Yeah, obviously at that point you're in the mixer, you're down to 12 men, you got the heat, you've got the intensity of the game, and Cass just seemed to stride away from a bit, scored 4 unanswered tries at that point, Paul, but we scored at the end. Matty Unsworth scored his second, another powerful run from him, and he crashed over. So at least we ended with a flourish.
Yeah, my dad's always said that to me since I was about 5-year-old. It's always nice to score last. It sends you home happy with a smile on your face. So yeah, joking aside, it was a tough game, wasn't it? As we both mentioned there, the sending off has probably played a massive part in that game. I would say. I think with 13 men on there, they probably would have just had enough to win that game. So that's a blow. It's a blow to lose the game anyway, but I think that team's growing in confidence, and it's a learning process for that reserve team. They've not been together long. Give them a few more years together when they're getting to know each other and progressing together, and then get stronger and stronger.
Yeah. So that's the look back at all the games this week, and now we'll see what's happening in the world of rugby league, or the world of Salford Red Devils. So we'll start, Paul, with the big news that the Wigan game, which is the Armed Forces Appreciation Day, you can get free travel to the match if you're a serviceman or servicewoman, veterans, season ticket holders, or match ticket holders, or under 16s, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I saw that before on the Twitter tonight on my way home. I think that's great. They've got a good partnership there with Greater Manchester Transport and other people who've got involved with that. So let's just hope it's not just for that game. Let's hope we can build these bridges for future games as well. If we can get involved with Greater Manchester Transport and get buses on and things like that to help get people to the match, I think that's great. It's great for the city. It's great for the club. And great for the people of Salford, isn't it? Giving them options to get there. But no, I'm really looking forward to that game against Wigan. I think it'd be special. I think it's always special when they have the Armed Forces Day. It's a really good atmosphere and everybody gets involved. It's always buzzing outside the ground before the game as well. It's a Sunday afternoon. Weather's probably going to be decent. Wigan are coming. They'll bring a few supporters as well. Let's hope we can smash that home record attendance, because I think it's a real good opportunity there. Especially beat Ulster in the cup. You're on a cracking run in the league. You could be in the semi-finals of the cup. Wigan are in town. They're behind us in the league as well. We could be strong favourites to win that game. That could be a cracking afternoon.
Yeah, running buses from the Trafford Centre, Bay 16, £3 return, which is something for fans who use Trafford Centre might want to use that option. I think it's great, like you said, Paul, that the club are using the opportunity to spread the word of Salford Red Devils. It is a big test for the new, we'll say, owners of the club, which is us who put the money in, how we can promote this game to potential fans. And it will be interesting to see what attendance comes out at the end of it.
Yeah, but I think there with the Trafford Centre, that's good links as well. You could make I know there's a cost of living crisis and things aren't cheap, but you could probably make a real day of it if you've got the till to do that. £3 return on the bus. Get yourself a bit of tea at the Trafford Centre or a bite to eat, a coffee or something like after the match. to celebrate another Salford victory. Could make a real day of it. I mean, people sometimes moan about where the stadium is, but the sort of transport links there, it's not far from the Trafford Centre. I mean, you can walk in 20 minutes, can't you? So leave your car there if you wanted to. So, you can really make a day of it going to the match now. I mean, I know it's difficult on a Friday night when, you're finishing work, but a Sunday or a Saturday afternoon games are an ideal opportunity to take your family and enjoy yourself. And, you won't be disappointed. The rugby's fantastic. The entertainment's fantastic. The whole day, I think, will be great and people will be loving it.
Yeah, I think that the important thing is putting this information in front of the people who it will benefit. And that's a big test for the club and for us fans in promoting this game and promoting this club. So it will be interesting to see how that is done and if it ends up being a big attendance. I hope it does, because obviously they've put a lot of effort in. They've got a lot of things going on, a big performance going on at the stadium as well to sort of entice the fans and not just make it about the rugby, making it a day event as well, which is exciting because like I think Parker says a lot, it's more of an event now. It's not just about the 80 minutes. You have to bring the people in to the whole day and make it something that they want to attend. And hopefully, the club have sorted out a big day with bands and stuff playing. You're just hoping that this information is put in the right places in front of the right people to make them think, oh, I'll go down, and then it becomes a big event.
Yeah, that's it. And no, we talk about the event and that, but the main thing is the team, isn't it? And the team are playing well as well. So I can't think of a time where I've watched Salford where they've played as well as this, to be honest with you, in the sort of 30 odd years I've watched them. So, it's a cracking atmosphere, some cracking rugby. The weather's been decent. There's characters in the team as well. You get to know and love it. It's a real good atmosphere at Salford, and the stadiums are, despite what people might say about getting to it, I think it's a good facility. It really is. It's a cracking facility, cracking views in the stand, and you can have a belting day out if you go there to the ground. I mean, I know my mum's friend who comes quite a lot and gets tickets. He's into the Speedway and that, and he comes watching Salford. We have a bit of a joke with him because they always win when he comes. He's got like a record of about a dozen games he's been to and they've won. Every time he comes, absolutely loves it, and he's become a bit of a converted supporter really now. So I think anybody who comes as an outsider who doesn't really know about rugby league will enjoy it and be hooked on it. I think that's happened to a number of people who I've read about on the various social media and that. But yeah, this day should entice you in, and it's about the club and us promoting it and telling the people of Salford, not just the people who are already don't preach to the converted, preach to the people who don't really know a lot about it, because there's still people in the city who probably don't know. So it's a big area and we need to let these people know.
Yeah. Other news, walking rugby and PDRL training sessions are on Tuesday, Eccles College. Obviously, in the community, we want to be able to entice people who want to play rugby but might not be able to. Obviously, walking rugby is there if your age is, you don't want to be running about, and obviously physical disability rugby league is there if you have got a physical disability. You now have the opportunity to play for Salford Red Devils.
That's right. Ian Parker says it every week, and you say it every week, don't you, about the opportunities to play for this club and get involved with the club, and the opportunities are there. You just got to go and get involved now, and I think it's great. I think the club, what they've done on the budget that we've got, I mean, I say it all the time, has been nothing short of a miracle, really. And I mean, the people of the area, the councillors and the mayors and people like that, should really get behind the club, and I dare say they do, but sometimes I don't think the club gets the acknowledgement and the sort of rewards that it deserves for the work that it does. It brings happiness to a lot of people. I mean, I know the team get beat sometimes, they let us down, and we lose games, we don't win anything, but I'm not on about that. I'm on about the way that gets the public involved. Like you said there, people who go to walking rugby, just for example. I mean, that could be a cracking afternoon out for somebody who's not done anything all week. So I think the club are putting these branches out now for people to get involved. And, as I said, we've not got, sackfuls of people working there. We all seem to muck in and do our best, don't we? And the community are doing a great job.
Yeah. So before we talk about the Hull KR Cup game, Paul, we had a quick sort of brainstorm, didn't we, about best Challenge Cup moments for Salford. We made a little bit of a list, best and worst. What was your best Challenge Cup moment following Salford Red Devils?
Well, it's the obvious one, isn't it? I mean, the 96 game against Wigan, I mean, I remember going to that game as if it was yesterday, and you didn't really think I didn't think we had a chance of beating Wigan. But as the game sort of wore on, it was one of those days where, hang on, everything seems to be going right. She's saying to me, Dad, how long's left? And as the game went on, he felt like something's going to happen. That was a miracle. I remember coming home from that game, and it was like a dream. You didn't really know. We sat having our tea on that Sunday night, and if we just beat Wigan, you had to pinch yourself. I don't know, we got beat off St Helens in the next round. Well, that was a great memory. I'm talking about the 90s, where, same as you, when I grew up, I was at school, I was a teenager, enjoying life. 97, the cup run, beating Castleford away. Saw John Cartwright come out. He's absolutely huge. And we absolutely whooped Castleford. We've just been promoted. We beat Paris in the next round. Then we hammered Warrington at Warrington before losing to Saints in the semi. So cup runs, I think, are exciting as well. So the sort of mid-90s, 96, 97, good times for me. I enjoyed those times in the cup.
Yeah, Harry Hargreaves, one of our listeners, agrees with you. Beating Wigan in the semi-final challenge, Cup, brilliant atmosphere, and Barry and Judith Keithley at the Willows when Wigan prevented from winning the cup 7 years on a trot. So they're with you on being the best Salford moment. I think there's other ones, Paul, as well. I think London away in 2000 in Kingstonian. What a game that was, coming back from, I think it was 10 points behind with 5 minutes to go. Jason Webber crashing over to win it for Salford. Or was it Darren Brown? I can't remember now. But the absolute scenes behind the goal, and we had a mass pitch invasion at the end to celebrate.
I do remember the pitch invasion. I'm trying to remember the score. I think it was 22-21, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that, 21-20 or something. Was it 22-21?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah. I'm sure it was 21 to London, and we scored 22, didn't we? I think they dropped a goal. But I think we played Barrow in the round before that as well, and won away at Barrow. So before, obviously, the game afterwards, the quarter-final at home to Warrington, 8 minutes injury time, and blooming Alan Hunt scores for Warrington. Yeah. That was an heartbreak. There was a few heartbreaking games around that time, sort of late 90s, early 2000s, wasn't there?
Yeah. Another good one, 2014, Hull away. Rangi Chase drop goal. Francis Melly going over in the corner. Mulaney kicking a goal from the touchline.
Yeah, if I remember right, that was a Thursday night, and I remember being sat behind the goals in that away end at Hull, and when Rangi Chase dropped that goal, my dad and whoever was with us, I can't remember now, it was my dad and his mate, we were saying, right, we've got to kick off now, and it was like, no, it's finished. It's golden point, and I don't even think the players knew that, because it was like there was a pause, wasn't there, and people didn't really know. And I think somebody looked in the programme and said, "Oh no, it says in the programme there if it's extra time, it's done," and that was it. But that was a great win. That
we can relive that moment now, because I've got a recording of me commentating on that game. So here's the last 2 minutes of that game.
Gentlemen in detail. The Salford line and Salford needs something, anything. Ball there by knocked on by Hampton, and Hull picked the ball up with 3 minutes to go. 25 out. I think it'll be a 5 drives and a penalty and a drop goal here for Hull. Really any sense. Salford need to force an error here. Big shots in the tackles, need to dislodge the ball. Don't forget to do man of the match, go to the interactive section and vote for your man of the match, and we'll tell you what it is just after the final hooter. It's Hull now 15 metres out with Poliacino driving to the line, and Salford have to get on the line and come charging out now. Hull in ideal position, and the chase is on, and the chase is there, and he's pulled it. He pulls the drop goal. Luckily for Salford with 3 minutes to go. It's time on the clock for Salford to come again. Survive. With the tap penalty, 3 minutes to go, and it's Greg Johnson who steps and brings the ball forward to the 40-metre mark for Salford. 2 minutes to go now for Salford. Can we find an opening? Theo Farge gives it to Jake Mulaney, who gives it to Harrison Hampton, who steps and tackled there by a couple of Hull defenders. Theo Farge, who gives it to Mulaney, who looks like could have been obstructing that. Mulaney tackled by a Hull defender, and the Salford 30. Salford going sideways at the moment. Kira gives it to Lamataza. I don't think he expected that ball, but he managed to keep hold of it. And then the 40 metres Salford now. Lee gives it to Rangi showing obstruction, try. No, referee gives it as a penalty. But Salford still with 1 minute 53 to go. 10 metres from the full line. This could be the moment. Theo Fars brings the ball forward for Salford. Dummies. Gives it to Chase, who pops it to Rivera. Big shot for the forward pass, but nothing given by the referee. Tommy Lee gives it to Randy Chase, who comes back inside. It's a dummy. It's a dummy by Salford, and it's Chase who gives it to Rivera. Salford still coming forward. 10 metres from the full line. 1 minute 30 to go. And it's Lamatazu bulldozing forward for Salford. It's only half a metre short for Salford. Could be a try that takes Salford into extra time. Lee pings it to Chase, who gives a long ball out, and Millie's there for the corner. That's it, Millie scores for Salford. Wonderful try for Millie, and he's given the try. Dr. Millie whacks it for Salford. 9 seconds of the game. Now, can he kick the goal? If he kicks the goal, we go into extra time. Pressure on Mulaney. Kick to come by Jake Mulaney with 41 seconds to go. All on the goal as Salford fans hold their breath everywhere. Even me sat here off, the tension builds right in the corner, the far side of the field, the left hand side of the field, on the touchline, right on the touchline. Can Jake Mulaney pick Salford into extra time? Jake Mulaney with a kick to put Salford into extra time. Lots of noise from the whole fans, the roar goes up from the whole fans behind the goal and everywhere around. Jake Mulaney, we're right behind you, Jake. Kick the goal, Jake. Come on, he steps up. He kicked it. It looks good to me. Yes! Jake Mulaney kicks an absolute wonder goal to send this tie into extra time. Wonderful kick by Jake Mulaney. As the Salford fans going bananas behind the goal from the far end. And it's all on. Extra time. 10 minutes of extra time we've got before you now. Wonderful kick by Jake Mulaney. And the Salford fans clearly in dreamland at 36 all. Wonderful rugby league. Unbelievable rugby league. The Salford fans cheering the boys on. And hopefully now Salford can continue their good form and snatch the victory.
Like you said, Paul, nobody knew what was happening in extra time. I was trying to get, I think it was David Clegg's attention to see if he could tell me, but he wasn't looking in my direction. So when Rangi Chase drops the goal, I'm like thinking, well, we have to carry on here until everyone runs off celebrating. So in hindsight, I wasn't particularly excited about the Rangi Chase drop goal, but we were through the next round.
Yeah, was it 2014 that?
Yeah.
I think it was 2014, wasn't it? I think we played Widnes in the next round at home and got beat, didn't we? So, yeah. I don't know. My dad was telling me one the other week, I think it was in the 60s, we played, it might have been 66, we played St Helens in Wigan. It was just before my dad started going. And I think they were the cup finalists the year before. And Salford beat Wigan and then beat St Helens. So they beat the 2 cup finalists and then got beat against Dewsbury in the next round. It's like that seemed to happen if you go through the yellow Bible, the yellow Salford history book, and you look right through the 70s. They had some great wins in the cup, but for whatever reason could never get to Wembley. There was always someone who thwarted them. I think with Bramley in '79 with 2 replays. So the cup's always something that's like evaded Salford, hasn't it? And then there's that blooming COVID final as well. So I think to beat Ulcar on Saturday and look at the semi-finals who we could have in that. I mean, I know you can't count your chickens, but you've got Wigan who could get through, Warrington, St Helens, Lee, Hull as well is still in there, York. So it's going to be some great games.
Yeah. Even though we watched it on telly, Dan Sargentson going over, I think it was against Catalan, Tam Compkins flying out the line and missing, and sent Sargentson over for the try, and also Lussick crashing over under the post senders to Wembley, both on telly, but it was what it was.
Yeah, I think I went to them. They were both at the Langtree Park, on the St.
Yeah.
Helens ground. Yeah, they were the behind closed doors games. So there was about 10 people in the ground. I can remember it, and jumping up when they got to Wembley and won. But it was like really bittersweet because there's no supporters there. So yeah, it was that season for me. Don't know. It's one of them. You sort of write it off in your memory, really, don't you? Because it didn't really happen. So yeah, I think they were great moments, but it's not the same when the fans aren't there.
I tell you what it was. It was Kevin Brown and Chris Wellham read the play and sent Sargent over the score. Bad times. Lee, 2001 in a mud bath. We got beat there. Did a number on us that day.
Yeah, it was 12-0 up as well. Warren Jowett scored 2 tries in the first half on his debut. I remember that game. It was absolutely bounced it down. You couldn't really see the players. They were that sort of covered in mud, and both teams' kits were just black, weren't they? But credit to Lee that day. I think Simon Spavage was playing for Lee that day, former Salford player. I think he had a stormer, and pretty sure Lee won 16-12, and Adam Bristow played for them, Neil Turley. They had some good players, and they deserved it. They won. They had a good win.
Yeah. Sheffield 98, one that haunts us forever. I don't think I've watched it back, and no one likes talking about it, but I'm feeling now we've excised that ghost with the £1 million miracle and whatever happened after that.
Yeah, I think it doesn't hurt as much that anymore as it used to do. I remember driving home that day with my dad, and I was looking out the window all the way home, and it just felt like I've never felt that low before. No, I've had lows in my life, but that's one of the lowest. And you didn't know what to do with yourself. It really did feel. I mean, I don't know what it is. Defeats don't seem to hurt me as much as that anymore. I don't know whether it's when you get a bit older and you have kids and you experience things in life and you start growing up a bit. But back then, when you sort of, how old was I then? About 14, 15, rugby league, and that is, you're a kid, aren't you? And it means the world to you. It still does now, but obviously it's different. It's a different feeling now, and I can remember that game. And like you said, I've only ever watched it back once. I think I watched it back about 3 or 4 years ago on YouTube. And it made me feel sick watching the bit where Steve Blakely goes through at the end. It was just, and that blue kit, I've actually got that blue shirt. A friend of mine gave it to me as a present, and I've kept it in a box under my bed because I don't want to look at it, to be honest with you. It was a nice little souvenir, but I think we only wore that shirt. I think we wore it against Ovenden in the Cup that season. We played them at Throwall. We wore it. When else did we wear it? I think the Sheffield. I think we only wore it twice. And I'd never want to see that shirt again.
No. And then the other one I wrote down was Alan Hunt for Warrington when he scored a fortnight into stoppage time.
That was 2000, wasn't it? That was the game after the Kingstonian win against London, wasn't it? And that was at the Willows. Massive crowd there that day as well. And you know what? Salford played really well that day. I thought Malcolm Olker had an absolute storm. We bossed the game. I think we were leading for the whole game, weren't we? And you just knew something was going to happen there at the end. And fair play to Alan Hunt. It was a good try at the end, wasn't it? But no, I think that's another time. That was quarterfinals, that, wasn't it? And we could have got to Wembley that season. So many times we've got so near, haven't we? And the semi-final of 2017 at Warrington against Wigan. I thought we was winning that game at half time, weren't we? I think did Manu Vatavai play in that game? I think he played in that game, didn't he? The New Zealand winger. Yeah. And we chucked that one away in the second half, didn't we?
Yeah. There has been a few moments that makes you want to curl up and die, but you're hoping for that next big one, aren't you? Yeah, that's why we go, don't we? That's why we go to the games, because you're waiting for that next moment, and it would be even, bigger being a Challenge Cup game. The one that the fans really want. Obviously, we get in there in the COVID year. None of us got experience of going and I'm enjoying that cup final experience. But on the plus side, the club have got to a cup final. They've experienced what that is, even though the players, this group of players, apart from I think Inu maybe, aren't involved, but the whole club have. So if we get to a semi-final again, for me, there shouldn't be that sort of anxiety that it's all or nothing, because we've been there before as a club.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my brain. I don't think there's many people left from the 2020. So Rhys Williams had left. He scored.
Williams, scored. Yeah,
Rhys Williams scored a try, didn't he? So it's going to be a massive game against Oldcam. We'll probably talk about it shortly. We played them in the cup. A few times in the last few years, haven't we? And it's a tough place to go. But I don't know. You speak to Paul Rowley. We saw him on Friday night at Castleford, didn't we? He's got that steely determination in his eye at the moment, hasn't he? And that belief and that confidence. And I think this group of players that Salford have got at the moment, there's a real feel good factor between them, isn't there? A real will to win and a desire about them. And I've said it to you before. There's other teams in that league who've probably spent a lot more money than what we've spent, but I think there's one thing that they've not got, and that's that team spirit and that togetherness that we've got. Without naming names, I'll name one: Huddersfield. I watched them on Saturday against Warrington, and they've got some really, really good players, but I just didn't think that they just, I don't know, they just don't look like a team to me. And I watched the interviews after the game, and I felt a bit sorry for them, really, because they've got some good players and they just can't get things right. And I thought, well, we're lucky. We've probably not got those riches that they've got and that massive squad, but we've got a team spirit and a team and a spine that's doing really, really well. I mean, at the moment, we're doing well because we've not got loads of injuries. We could lose Sneed, we could lose Croft, and then things go belly up, don't they? But, thank ourselves lucky that we've got a healthy squad, to a certain extent, and that's what it's all about.
Yep. So, let's talk OKR and the Cup.
It's time for the Devil of the Details Big Match Review.
So, Salford travel to OKR on Saturday, midday kickoff. Paul, Abdul, their tormentor in chief, he's out injured by the sound of it. I saw on Twitter, possibly, is it 12 to 15 weeks out, which is a blow for him, a blow for them, but a boost for us.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like they brought him back too early, doesn't it? Because he's had a recurrence of the injury that he had before. So I got a bit miffed off the other day with a few things I've read on Twitter. I keep it all to myself, and I have a chunner when I'm driving around in my van. But I thought, saw some old cars saying, "Oh, that's it now. We've got all these injuries, and Salford are going to hammer us." And I thought, you're just taking the pressure off yourselves. We've still got to go and win that game. I looked at the bookmakers' odds; they've got it evens for Saturday, so they know it's going to be a close game. So, all car supporters can take the pressure as much as they want. It's going to be, you can't blame it all on injuries and get your excuses in early. So no, it's going to be a tough game. There's no doubt about that. You're going away from home. It's a cauldron atmosphere there. Their supporters will get behind them. You know that. And they've got some good players as well in that team. You look at the likes of Kane Lynette, Mikey Lewis. They're good players, aren't they? And Sean Kenny Dowell as well. He always impresses me when he plays. So, no, their side's a decent team. Jordan Abdul, he's a big player out of their side. I'd like to have played, really. You want to beat teams when they've got all the players out, don't you? And go to glory. But I think for Salford, it's about us, not about them. They can have whoever they want playing for them. It's about whether we do our job. If we play well, we'll beat them.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe it till I don't see his name on the team sheet. The amount of times I've spoken to Paul Rowley in pre-match press conferences and he's gone, ex-player, 6 weeks. And then the 20-man team, 20-man squad comes up and he's there. So until I don't see Abdul's name on that squad list, then when it's not there, then I can breathe a little bit more easy. 2 games they've played so far against them this season. Lost early in the season, won at Magic. Do you think that's a factor going into this game?
No, because I don't think OKR are playing as well as they were at the start of the season. I think they fell off. They've lost 4 on the bounce, I think, in the league now. Maybe more, might be 5. I think it's 4 or 5 anyway. And no, I don't want to say they bottled it, because I don't think they bottled it. I think they've had a few key men injured. I think I've got to be careful what you say, haven't you? But no, I'll say it because I'm outspoken, me, sometimes. I think the press and that overhype OKR sometimes, and Hull to a certain extent, and they're a big city, aren't they? I think they seem to get, people talking about is this, that, and the other. But I don't know. I think they're a decent team. They're a decent team at home. They've got some very, very good players, but Lachlan Coote's a big miss for them as well. Abdul's a big miss. But they've still got some good players, though, so it's going to be a difficult game, Rob. It is going to be a difficult game. I expect, if you had to ask me now, I think we'll win. I think we'll win comfortably, not because of OKR and who's playing for them, just because we're playing well. I think that's what Paul Rowley be saying to his players all week. Don't worry about who's playing for them. They can wheel out whoever they want. We've got to just do our business. And on our day, we can beat anybody in that league. We know that. We know we can beat anybody. We've proved it. So just go and play our natural game, and I think we'll be fine.
Let me write that down. Paul Whiteside, shock jockey.
Whoa.
Radio shock jockey. Coming out with big statements, and the least sort of shock jockey I've ever met.
Who, me?
But, yeah.
No.
Never say anything controversial at all.
Well, I do when I'm driving about. I've got a camera in my van, actually. I should have a listen to it when I'm driving around listening to stuff.
Right.
I like my rants. But I try and... I don't like being disrespectful. That's why I try and keep level-headed. I think even when you do like radio and stuff like that, you can't slag people off and say, "Oh, I don't like him," and that and the other, because you should be respectful about stuff. But no, I just think that sometimes we don't get the credit we deserve, and I know Paul Rowley will say that, won't he? That he likes to fly under the radar and things like that. But I think we're in a good position. I mean, you're the same age as me, aren't you? We've watched over a long time, and I think you look at it now, and I think this is probably the best chance we've got of winning a trophy in all the years I've watched Salford. I'm 40 now, same as you, and you're getting on a bit, and you think, am I ever going to see him win anything? And this season, I actually believe that we could. You look at it now, I think we're playing better now than we were in 2019. And we got to a grand final that season and came mighty close. I think we're better. I think we're a better team now. So
I think we've got levels, and I think at the moment we're playing it maybe 3, when really you've got 4, 5, and 6, and I think they know that as well. So when push comes to shove, and we need to find a gear, this team will find it. And like you said, Paul, we've watched many Salford team down the years give us hope and then fade away or fall off a cliff. This one is different for me, and I think it comes down to Paul Rowley and the way he manages his squad, and the way he likes to keep everyone sort of chilled and don't over hype things and not build it up into a big thing. And he wants his players to remain focused on what is ahead, which is basically a cup game on Saturday. I think they're going down on the night before, which avoids the travel up there, which is great, because obviously that's a factor. Obviously going to Hull is a long way, so they'll be rested and ready for the cup game.
Like you said, you're spot on. I think there is levels, and it's about getting to that level. It's about peaking at the right time. And I'll use St Helens for an example. To me, they're still the team to beat. I know they're 6th in the table at the moment, but I've watched them the last couple of weeks, and they've been ruthless, and they can go through the gears. And if you want to win something this season, you've got to beat them. You're probably going to have to beat them, and they're tough. They bully you. Paul Rowley told us that. We know that. And that's the standard you've got to get to. And I've watched them I think I've lost their last 3 matches now, and they destroyed Wigan. I watched the game on Saturday afternoon when I was chilling, and they destroyed Wigan Friday night. Absolutely destroyed them. And some of the rugby league that they played, they're the benchmark, I think, at the moment. And you look at the end of the season, when you get to September, October, they might have been poor for the first few months of the season, but they'll peak at that time. They'll come good at that time. They'll be tough to beat. They're resilient. They've got pace. They'll finish, and they'll just grind you down as well. And Wigan can be the same, can't they? But I think St Helens are that next level. So you've got to look at these teams and use them as I'm no St Helens lover, but I do admire the way that they play the game, and admire the way that they come up with results and win trophies. So I think we've got to look at that, and I think Paul Rowley knows he can get these levels and get to this next level.
Yeah, I suppose Wigan and Saints have their own ecosystem. They have their own structures that they've lived in, haven't they, forever, in going to cup finals, going to semi-finals, and what it takes to win one. We're new to it, but we've got experience of competing in them now, like in the semi-final, in the Super League. And you just like say, I just think, I don't think there's any pressure. I don't feel like this is a massive game. We always say pressure is a privilege, and that's what this is. It's an opportunity to get into a semi-final and take the club to that next level. Because when it comes to semi-finals, anything can happen, can't it? So I don't feel any pressure at all for Saturday.
No, we're away from home. Yeah, we're away from home. I don't think there's any pressure. I think you go there and play your game. Just going back to like St Helens and teams like that, I think with those teams, you're right. They played in finals before. I think the expectation is there amongst their supporters and amongst their club and amongst their town. I suppose you got somewhere like St Helens, you were expected to do well. You were expected to win. You're not expected to drop the ball. You make a mess of something and you're out, and someone else will come in and take your place. I think you've got that ruthlessness at those sort of clubs, haven't you? We've never really had that at Salford. We've had a squad of players, and if I don't play well this week, well, I'll be in next week anyway. But I think that's changing now. We are becoming a club that's, well, I'm not saying we're at the level of St Helens yet, because we're light years behind them, like trophies and that. But I think over the last 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, the perception of our club has changed with other clubs. Yeah. I don't think other clubs look at us now and think, oh, it's Salford, we can turn them over, they're right yellow bellies. And we used to be like that, Rob, as well as I do. Yeah. You come to Salford and we roll over, and Leeds would get 50 points, 40 points at the Willows. We've seen it before, St Helens 16-0 and things like that. But you don't get that anymore. We have changed, and it takes a long time to change that perception. And I think you've got to be, I think the first thing you've got to do is become difficult to beat. And I think we've become a hard side to beat now. We're not the easy beats anymore. We're tougher, and we've got that Rowley ball that you call it as well. So perfect ingredients to do well and win things. So, it's easier said than done, but it's exciting.
Yeah, I think we're in the sweet spot because we're not used to doing it. So we're not sort of in a mechanical way, just going through the process to get to a final. But we are learning how to do it. And I think, really, what I look at is, like West Ham, they won some kind of Europa League conference thing, and their fans and their players absolutely lost their mind because they'd never experienced winning a major trophy. And I think if we get to a final, there'll be that sort of explosion of emotion that we saw the West Ham fans and players do. That's what we'd be doing, and I'm confident, obviously, that we're on a journey, and it ends. Well, it doesn't end, does it? Because when you win the cup, it doesn't end when you win a cup. It's about the next challenge in it, but it's taking that second step in it. It's the first step of reaching a major final, and then it's winning it.
It's nice I think it'd be nice to actually win it, though. I mean, you look at a lot of the top flight clubs, and a lot of clubs that are out of the top flight that have won major trophies since we've done. I mean, you're talking 76. It's a long time ago now since we won one, and that's generations of people who've missed out on that big day out, that winning that trophy, that celebration, that sort of, that memory of that day. We've got a lot of supporters like me and you that have only ever really known mediocrity and that. And it's hard to keep that faith and keep going. If you're a St Helens fan, you're blessed with it, really, aren't you? You get to roll up, you get to go to Wembley every season, you get to go to Australia, watch them win the World Club Challenge. It must be great. But for us, you've just got to have that bit more steel about you, haven't you, just to keep going. But I was talking to my friend tonight. He's a big City fan, and obviously he'd just been to Turkey watching him. He'd been to Wembley the week before, watched him in the cup final, and I don't know it. He doesn't feel the same anymore as what he did 25 years ago when they were rubbish. And that's my fear. If Salford won loads of trophies and become like a Wigan, you'd be like, well, does it feel the same anymore? Because it doesn't feel like it used to feel, because it's the journey's a bit, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You get spoiled.
Yeah, I get that.
Don't you? Yeah, and I think a lot of City fans are like that now. You lose your identity, don't you? Now we just win everything now, and it's, you become a bit, what's the word? You become a bit, not stagnant. Ignorant, but and you just, we win anything anyway, and you become a bit cocky about it, don't you? So that's a different sport, isn't it? But I think you sort of see Wigan and Saints supporters have become like that over the years, haven't they? With the trophies you just expect to get there to finals and things. But no, we're still on that journey, Rob, and it's exciting.
It is. Score prediction. What's your thought process?
Got to go for it now, haven't I? I said,
lose.
I said to my dad last week, he said, what do you think? We're going up early, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah. He says, you're normally dead cautious, pal. I said, you know what? I think we'll absolutely smash OKR. He went, do you think so? And, yeah, I think we'll get a 40 point. No, I'm gonna rein it in a little bit. It's going to be a really warm day in it, so I think there's going to be points. Excuse me. I think Salford will win 32 points to 16.
32. 16. I'm going to pipe Parky in. Parky, what's your prediction?
Hi, good evening, guys. Sorry for missing tonight's podcast. I won't go into details and bore everybody. This week's a massive game, isn't it? Quarterfinal of the Challenge Cup. I know me and Paul, we share the same feelings towards this competition. I think it's the one that I want to win the most. It's been You know, been a long time since we've won it. Obviously, 1938's. Yeah, even further back than I go. But yeah, it'd be a good game this, because I know Hull KR have got a lot of players missing, and people are making a lot of that, but and writing them off. But I think you'll find that, you know, we've been there as a club as well, where you're depleted on troops and yet you still turn out a performance and get a result. That can happen. And going over to Craven Park, it's always a tough place to go. The crowd are on top of you. And they have still got some good players, you know. You got Mikey Lewis and Ryan Hall and Kane Lynette, people like that. They'll still be very tough opposition for us. However, I do think we've got enough, and I think the lads will be up for it. So I'm going to go with a Salford win by 22-12. Fingers crossed that's right. And yeah, I hope to see everybody there.
My prediction for the game against Hull KR, the cup game, is I'm thinking Salford will win. I think it's going to be a tight one. I'm going to go Hull KR 20, Salford 30. 30-20, CO hat-trick.
I thought you were going to say 2021 then. The extra time. That's one thing we don't want. Golden point, blooming extra time, do we? But no, I think it'd be great. The only thing is, it's strange. Kick-off time at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's early door. I've never known a game kick off at 12 before. I mean, half 12 or 1 o'clock, yeah, but 12 is a strange one. But
yeah.
No, it should be great. It should be a great atmosphere. Sunny day again, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, so that's the end of this week's podcast. Another great show. Paul, I want to say big thanks to all our listeners who support us via the Ko-fi, help us buy the programmes and the subscriptions that help us create this podcast for you to enjoy. It's an absolute pleasure every week talking to yourself, Paul, and Parkin, giving information and giving opinion on our great club.
Yeah, I love it. I really enjoy it. Really enjoy doing this, and been doing it a number of years with you now. Thank you for taking a punt on me like you did, because without you doing that, I probably wouldn't be. I wouldn't be doing this now. So you had the faith in me to help you out. So yeah, I enjoy it, Rob, and thanks to the listeners as well who do a great job. With their free word match reports and viewing everything we do and listening to us. I think it's great.
I'm still going to demand a fee from Radio Manchester when they come swooping.
No, there's no chance of that. Someone mentioned something to me about the week saying, "Oh, you should do radio on that full time." I said, "Nah, I like my job. I love my job doing boilers. I'd never give my job up. No, I love it. It'd take a lot of money to make me. Well, not money, but I just enjoy my job. I've always enjoyed it. So, I won't give them my boilers. No chance."
There you go. There's Baxter. Paul's not leaving. He ain't leaving.
No, he's a loyal bloke.
Yeah. So big thanks for all your support, and don't forget you can support us via the Ko-fi on our socials. And obviously, like I said, it's every penny matters to us, and we spend it wisely. So big thanks for tuning in to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. Fans on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. Fans on Twitter at DITD SRD, and your fans on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. Good luck, Reds. We'll see you soon.